The most humanitarian aid since this started on the 7th of October. So 129,000 litres of fuel, I think, 137 trucks. Yeah, more than any other day, and it just needs to continue. That's the clearest message from this. We cannot be talking about this for 4 or 5 days and then go back to the death and destruction and the injuries to children that I've seen all day. So it's a very good start. It needs to continue tomorrow, the next day, and get to the north, and then just to keep continuing, because this pause, Faisal, needs to turn into a humanitarian ceasefire.
And I mean, how realistic is it that you can get some of this aid to the north, given that that is still what the Israeli army says a war zone?
Yeah, we're well aware that where the needs are, and where I am in South Gaza, it's quite extraordinary to see how many children are sick because their parents have no choice but to give them water that's potentially unclean or salty, to see how people are just crammed, Faisal, to see teenage girls, adolescent girls queuing for hours and hours just to get to a bathroom. That's in the south. We know the bombardment that's happened there. I've seen more children with wounds of war today than I think any single day in my 20 years with UNICEF, and most of them have come down from the north. So we will prioritise where the greatest needs are, and that's the north.
And what are the conditions that you're seeing around you in the south of Gaza right now? I mean, clearly there isn't been the same intensity of military attack as we've seen in the north, but what are you seeing around you where you are now in the south of Gaza?
It's like fear and sorrow have kind of become, I don't know, like they've taken root in everything. Today, I just wanted to listen to people, and I must have spoken to dozens of people, and I don't think I spoke or listened to a single person who hadn't lost a loved one. Yeah, from a little 7-year-old boy who, when he was in his family home and it was bombed and his father was killed and his mother was killed and his 7-year-old twin was killed, and he was still quite articulate, but Faisal, he would just shut his eyes for moments on end. And I asked his auntie, who's now caring for him, why does he do that? And she explained he does that because he's so fearful of forgetting what his parents look like. So he closes his eyes because that's when he can see them. Whether it's people who are desperately overcrowded or sleeping outside or sleeping in cars that are bombed out, or whether it's children with burns riddled across their bodies, or little boys like Omar, whose story I just described. This is the situation of people in the south. As you rightly point out, it's probably much worse for those who are still trapped in the north.
And the people you're talking to, perhaps you yourself, you mentioned this is a 4-day truce that's been negotiated. Are they anticipating, hopeful, finding even expectation that it will be longer than 4 days?
It's a very unusual look in a parent's eyes when they feel they can no longer protect their child or provide them with safe water or cook for them. I felt in initial talking with people that there was a sense of optimism. Once I sat and really listened to them, they felt that the last thing was being taken away from them is hope. And that, of course, is, the United Nations, the international community's job is to ensure they don't lose that hope. But that only comes through actions. That comes through aid. That comes through safety. That comes through keeping this ceasefire. But I think they're very tuned into the realities of their world, and they're very fearful that this is 4 or 5 days of respite. A respite where many people are looking for loved ones to bury them, and they're very fearful, Faisal, that in 4 or 5 days the bombardments start again.
James, we must leave that there. Thank you so much for joining us there from southern Gaza, where you've been helping with relief efforts in southern Gaza. Thank you.
Thanks, Faisal.